stop fighting with me recording software. I have to use you every day. Don't fight with me.
It knew I was coming. It's like, nah. No thanks. It's a sign. It's a warning of a mess.
Anyway, me being angry and passive aggressive at my recording software aside, welcome everyone back to Cove Club, our interview show where we talk to all creatives of all walks of life except for that one creepy side we don't want to talk about. I am the founder, and I am joined by probably one of my favorite, just straight out of nowhere VAs that's kind of popped up the last few years and has just been killing the game so far, where I cannot wait to see her in a AAA title the same way I get to see a few of my other friends in AAA titles. It is everyone's favorite, first turquoise, then aqua, now rainbow-haired, delightful little sunshine, Mercedes Lewis.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for that intro. You're so lovely. I was like, wow, that's really nice.
I just like to gas people up that deserve it. It's my thing.
You do a fabulous job, honey. I hope you're doing wonderful today. Thank you for having me.
The pleasure's all ours, because honestly, everyone in the studio, when we all finally got to listen to you one by one, everyone's just like, I can't wait to work with Mercy one day. And I'm like, give me a few years to get some stuff sorted out, and we can make that a reality. But just
Oh
let
my
me work
goodness.
that thing out. We're gonna talk about that at the end of this recording, though.
Sounds good.
Anyway, before anything else, would you like to regale everyone with your own resume of different things you've been in thus far?
Well, there's quite a few. The biggest thing that has happened in my career that I joke and say, well, this is probably the thing I'll be known for a while, um, is an upcoming multi-console video game called Blackwind by the indie developers of Drakkar Dev. And I voice a main protagonist, Blackwind AI, and I also voice two side characters, Rachnos Queen and Private Jackson. That's going to be the biggest thing that's coming out in Q4 2021. We are still waiting for a release date, but there are trailers everywhere now. We just had a trailer launch yesterday or a couple days ago, that has 12,000 views so far, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. But that's the biggest project I have done, but I've done quite a few projects. I've done audiobooks, I've done narrations, tons of narration. I specialize in character work for video games and animation. And there's a lot of animation that I've done. So far, I haven't done the triple A stuff yet, working my way up. Like you said, I am just somebody that just popped out of nowhere. Past year and a half, I've only been doing this for less than 2 years. It'll be 2 years in October. But I have done a ton of stuff since. And I also am in a D&D live show with some other Funimation voice actors. I'm just like, whoa, like I'm among stars right now. So I've done quite a bit. A lot of what you can see that I've done is going to be on my website, mercedeslewisvo.com. But the biggest thing is that Blackwind project.
I swear, even when you just recount what you've been in, it's just the most wholesome thing in the world.
I'm very humble. This is a very humble journey.
I mean, I've heard a lot of different stuff at this point, from me talking to it wasn't no, I canceled that interview with Matt Damon, and no, Ben Affleck and I are having a feud. It was a few different A-list stars I've talked to about certain stuff, but every time I've been talking to people for Cove Club, I'm like, y'all have like the nicest journeys. Why couldn't I have talked to y'all when I was in the mainstream scene instead of
Oh,
all of those a-holes?
oh, well, I just feel like after a while, when you have a certain status, some people forget where they start, or some people don't have that certain struggle when they start. But it was definitely a struggle. I mean, I started out with nothing. I started out with a cell phone. I started out with this bad boy right here. Dirty. It's old. It's paid off. I started out with that phone right there and recorded my first radio imaging commercial on it. Don't ask me how I got that gig. It was a miracle. It was on Facebook group. This guy found me, and we've been working together ever since with radio imaging. And it was a paid gig within 2 weeks of me starting. And that's when I knew, okay, I need a microphone. And I upgraded to an MXL 990. And then I got the Neumann so that I can do the bigger video game stuff, because this is like what they request in a lot of auditions for some of the studio rosters that I'm on. So yeah, so I'm very humble. I started with nothing. I had no money, and I've worked my way up to a point where it has, like, I can't even explain it. It's like the struggle isn't like what it used to be. So I am very humbled by everything, and I'm grateful for every experience that I have in this journey.
See, hearing all that kind of points out something I've been saying for many episodes, where I've told people that you can start your journey with little to nothing, because I've seen people with a simple tape recorder now living in a 2-story manor from just starting in their own car, homeless with a tape recorder. And I don't know. I'm tired of having this whole speech where it's like, you can start with nothing. It's like, shut up, old man. Just because you've been in Hollywood doesn't mean you can take us to Hollywood. You know nothing. Okay.
You know nothing, Jon Snow. I'm still salty over that show.
We all are, Mercy. We all are.
No, it's true, though. I mean, you have to really want it that bad and have nothing to get somewhere with it. Because if you don't have that passion or desire, then it's not going to go anywhere. It took everything in me to get where I am now. It took a lot of paidless hours of marketing and just working behind, and just hours upon hours upon hours of just trying to find work, training, working with people, building relationships. It's a lot of work, and if you don't have that passion or desire to do it, you're not going to get very far with it. And so I tell people, if you desire it that bad and you create, like, I make a goal poster. It's actually behind this door here. There is a what is it called? It's a board where you could, like, use tacks to stick stuff on it, and I have a tacked goal list of things that I want to accomplish. And I've already gotten some of the stuff done in shorter time frame than what I have. You have to be very specific with your goals on how or when you want to get to a certain spot in your career. And that's kind of like, you know, my goal was, in like 3 years, I will voice in this type of video game. And I got to reach that goal after just a year. And now I'm a year and a half in, they're releasing the stuff that I've done, like from 5-6 months ago. So it's really cool. It's you have to have that passion, that desire to really want to do something and get it done, especially when you have nothing to begin with. Your brain will get creative and find ways to help you get it done when you desire it that bad. And my brain just started, like, the gears started turning, and it started creating these plans that I was like, I would have never, like, thought of this if I wasn't, like, really wanting it this bad. It's a crazy thing, but when you want something that bad, your brain will find ways, little signs, and point things out to you to help you figure out, okay, how do I get there with this goal? And that's really what I've been doing to kind of just go and go and go and go. And then there is a sense of, it's common to have fear on this journey when you don't really know what to expect, because it's very random. There's all sorts of stuff you're not prepared for when you're starting out. You're just kind of like, oh, I really don't know anything. And then when you start to learn, you're like, oh, that's embarrassing that I did that previously, and now I know not to do that. And it's just like, it's all a process, right? And the biggest thing is letting that fear go and being fearless. And that was one of the hardest things to do, is being fearless, because you have to talk to everybody. You have to get your face out there for people to know who you are. And it's not about fame. It's about people trusting that you have a good business persona. How you present yourself on social media is very important if people want to work with you or not. Your brand, like, you have to create a brand around your voice. Especially when you're starting out with nothing, you create this brand that people can be like, oh, that's what she represents. Because My business logo is Mercedes Lewis Voiceovers, colorful, fun, and friendly. And there's a rainbow mic in it, so I got a rainbow wig that I wear all the time now. I'm obsessed. But it's more so to represent my voice and what it can do and the range that it has and things like that. And when you create this brand, people start to trust your brand and they start to trust you and they want to work with you. They want to, see what you can do. And that's part of building those relationships. Referrals are a big thing. They have been one of the most, I would say, beneficial things that I've had happen in my business is the referrals that I've gained from just building relationships and working with other colleagues of mine. And they would just say, hey, I have an opportunity for you. Would you like to take this? And I don't wait. I jump on it. I could twiddle my thumbs and be like, I don't know. I've gotten to the point where sometimes I don't think, I just act. And that can be a good and bad thing. It can be a good thing because when you react quickly, sometimes without thinking to an opportunity, then you get to it fast enough. It's yours. You earned it. You worked hard. You're just like, you didn't make them wait. But it's also a bad thing because you have to ask those questions. Okay, what's your project about? Is it paid? What are some things that you're looking for in your character? What's your audition process? There's like a bunch of questions that you have to ask them. And if you don't ask them certain questions, then you could fall into a project that could actually be detrimental to your image. Or it could be a project that'll fall apart right away. And normally I ask certain questions to identify, because there's always a common denominator when I'm asking these questions that I can look for. Signs that are like, oh, that's a red flag. Let's see where that goes, kind of thing. But just to give myself a heads up mentally, prepare yourself for this. This could be, this. And it's not necessarily being negative. It's just protecting my business and my brand, because I have to think about every single action that I make having a reaction. Every single character that I voice represents my business. So what kind of characters am I going to audition for? Things like that. I talk a lot.
Oh, you're fine.
It's my job.
You're fine. I was just absorbing all of what you were saying, because honestly, before I even start with this, Anonymous, I know you typed up all these questions you want me to ask. I'm going to get to those. Do not try to send me like angry emails at like 4 a.m, because I know you're going to do it when you get this whole recording software. But I like to absorb this stuff because I haven't really been super prevalent in acting ever since I retired back when I was like 15. That was like 13 years ago until I came back 6-ish years ago. So
Okay.
Hearing all this stuff from people that are just starting off to be brand new, just trying to do the new techniques from just stuff on the internet platform, for me is a lot better to just take in how other people are taking in the whole stuff to try and get to the levels I've used to known other people for, all the directors I've met back in the day that may or may not have retired or were put into the whole exposed for the allegations I already knew about, but no one really wanted me to talk about because they're like, if you say anything about Harvey Weinstein at this whole casting couch thing, we're going to make sure you never work in this department ever again. Or if you say anything about what Kevin Spacey was talking about for this one closeted gay guy, we're going to make sure that you don't get paid for this thing. It's just an interesting thing for me to just sit down and honestly hear this from people that have, although been in the business less than myself, have a much brighter opinion than what I do, if that makes sense.
Of course, I mean, your experience has been pretty negative, and so of course you're going to have a certain opinion about it. And, this journey is not always positive. I just talk about the positive because people need to hear it more, because it's so easy to talk about all the downfalls, But when you start to talk about the good things that you want to think about in the process of it all, the biggest thing is everybody's like, I have to get here now. Like, if I don't get here now, and I've done this to myself too, if I don't get here now at this time, I'm not good enough. I'll never make it. I'm a loser, right? But then you have to tell yourself, okay, you have to give yourself time to get better at what it is that you're starting out with, because you have to prepare yourself for the bigger stuff. And if you're not prepared, your career is done, right? So I talk about the positive aspects of it because there's quite a few things that I've gone through along the way that if you're not strong-willed, you will quit. You know, there's a lot of things that I've gone through in the process, but I didn't let that stop me because I was so passionate about what I do that I was like, nah, like that's not going to stop me. Like I've had clients in the past that I was just like, I can't work for you anymore because you're inappropriate. Or I've had to let projects go where they were. This is like in the very, very beginning when I was doing passion projects to grow my resume and grow myself as a person. Sometimes you would encounter a project where they will send you a script, 5 different variations of it because they kept re-editing it. And eventually you realize how valuable your time is and you're just like, okay, I can't do this if this is how it's going to be. And then nothing changed and it kept being that way. And so eventually you have to make a decision. Is your time more important or is that more important? And you have to value yourself enough to say no. You have to know when to say no because you don't want to say, you don't want to agree to something and then back out in the middle of it, right? But if you see that the project is, unfortunately, it's too early and they're already trying to get everybody to do everything and there's nothing set in stone and it's a passion project, you have to make a decision is this, are you passionate enough about this passion project to volunteer to continue giving your time to it? Or do you feel like it's actually pulling you away from the content that you're wanting to produce, to create, to work with things that are paying you? And so me being a mom, I have an autistic daughter. She is 5 years old, right? So I have my hands full. I have to take her to therapy. I have to care for her. There's a lot of responsibility that I have on my shoulders on top of everything else. So my time, I have to be very careful with. I have certain windows of time that I have throughout an entire day because of this. And so I have to ask myself, is this project going to help me get further and help me pay my bills? Or is this project going to pull away from potential income that I could be making? And if I can figure out the answer to that, where it's like it's pulling me away from making income, supporting my family, things like that, then I have to take a step back and say I can't do that. And that's why when I have people like private message me, DM me, things like that, where they're like, "Hey, I have a project I'd love you to audition for," and I'm like, "Yeah, is it, hey, if you don't mind me asking, is it paid or unpaid?" And if it's unpaid, unfortunately, I decline now because I've gotten to the point where I'm like, well, I don't, my time is so valuable. I only have it open for paid work because I've worked so hard to get where I am today. I mean, it's it's bad how hard I work to get, like, there's a lot of tears, unfortunately, that I've gotten to the point where I'm able to say no because I understand the value of how hard I worked and my time. And I'm able to be like, well, unfortunately, that I don't foresee that working out. And so now I only accept paid projects. And my thing is that when you're building your resume and you're growing and you're learning, have a balance. Have a balance between paid work and unpaid work, or passion projects is what we prefer to call it. And once you reach a certain point where you start to see that you are getting to a higher, like your resume is getting to a point where it's just like you're getting more and more work, more paid work, you're doing higher higher content, like this, like Blackwind, for instance, is a huge thing because it's going to be released everywhere on everything, like the new consoles even. And we at first didn't know it would be. We were just like, this is amazing, let's see where it goes. Like if it just goes beyond Steam, or like if it stays at Steam, awesome. For PC, great. But then it got to the point where it's just like, no, it's released everywhere. And so we're just kind of like, oh. So the thing is that after you reach a certain point in your career, if you start continuing to do too many passion projects, you're going to get burnout, right? Because you want to still try and reach that level of where you've gotten to that job, and you want to continue jobs like that. But then if you accept other projects that are pulling your time away, and you're going to just get really, 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 really burnt out. And so I tell people, have a balance and know your limitations, know when to say no, and don't be afraid to say no. If people are not going to be happy about that because that's their project, they want you on it and you're telling them no, but make sure you give a reason why. And I always give a reason why. Unfortunately, I am not accepting passion projects at this time my time is very limited, so I have to dedicate that to paid work. That's what I tell everybody that I declined after I ask them the right questions, because sometimes they won't tell you right away it's unpaid. It's a passion project. And so ask the right questions. Don't be afraid to say no if you know it's not going to bring value to your life and it's going to take away from you and your family. If you have really big responsibilities that you have to make a priority, then you have to really figure out, based on your questions that you ask your clients, is this where I want to be with this? And it's okay to do passion projects, even if you're getting to a certain level with your career. It's just that you have to figure out, are you passionate enough to find time aside for that project, right? And the biggest thing is, for me, that was very hard for me to do, is saying no. But once you figure out how to say no, respectfully, of course, you don't want to be like, sorry. Like, you want to be respectful about it, right? Because even though that's not your project, that's their project. That's their baby. That's their life. And you don't want to put somebody down because it's a passion project. You give them a reason. You be honest. Unfortunately, I can't do this because of this. And then you move on. And if they're upset with that, then it's not our responsibility to make everybody happy with us. Even though we want to be respectful and kind to everybody around us, we have to protect ourselves as well in the process. And that's a hard thing to do in this industry, because it's easier to be a yes man than it is to be no, right? It's easier for me to say yes to everything than it is for me to say no to somebody offering me to be on their project. The biggest, it's just hard to explain, because you have to go through enough projects to be able to pinpoint what kind of projects and directors you want to work for and whatnot. Because this is your business as a voice actor. You get to determine who your clients are at the same time they get to determine who their voice actors are, right? So you're able to be like, if that project doesn't meet with your brand and what you represent, and you feel like it could pull away from your audience, if you're building your audience as well, because I do have a following that I built on top of everything, you have to weigh your options. And it's okay to do that. Those are things that are normal. You can sit down and think about these things. And I know it's a lot of information, but sometimes you have to really sit back and think, how you want to be represented and how you want to show your brand to the world. And my biggest thing is, I want to always be known as the kind person that's easy to work with, that, I try to be as giving as possible when I can be, things like that. But if I'm doing something that is very, the opposite of that, that's really, I more than likely will not do it if it goes against what I represent, kind of thing. Does that make sense? I hope.
Yeah, I was just I was mostly just letting you have free reign there, because I was like, I want to pause Mercy, but she's so passionate about what she's talking about. I'm gonna let her
pause me. Oh my God, I'll keep going if you don't pause me. Please pause me when you need to, because you're in charge. You're the boss. I'm just the person that's your guest here.
I know, but I'm like, I want to do it, but if I do, it's like, it just sounds so rude if I was just like, hey, Mercy,
Listen, Linda, listen. Just be like, Mercy, I appreciate that, but we got to stay on topic, girl. I don't mind. That's not rude to me. So, I just talk a lot. That's what I do.
You're not the only one. This is I don't know how many people I've interviewed at this point that just love to talk. I just sit back and I'm like, all right, let me just get extra comfy. All right, and my blanket burrito.
Cheers to some extra coffee too, right?
But before I have my editor anonymous, I'm pretty sure a few people now are just like, "Found you keep going on about this anonymous person. Who is this?" It's one of my editors out in Switzerland that whenever she types all this stuff up for the interview show, if I don't get to at least 5 of them, I have to wake up to 13 different emails at 3 a.m., mostly with Swedish swear words coming my way and Dutch swear words, calling me a worthless...
Do they look pretty?
Huh?
Do they look pretty?
I mean...
it's like looks pretty, but then you're the meaning behind it. You're like, oof.
I mean, the words themselves aren't really that important because she doesn't really type it out. She'll have a video message of herself with like
Oh,
really stressed out hair, like how much we've been
oh,
editing, and just
yeah.
swearing at me in 5 different languages before just having the rest typed out. Or I'm like, I don't know Dutch, but I know Swedish. So I know a lot of those are swear words calling me a bunch of different derogatory terms.
Oh my Lanta. Well, let's go ahead and let's make that process not happen to you, hopefully. So like you just do what you gotta do, and I'm here for the ride.
Okay. So the first question she's typed out for me is just who would you say were your voice acting inspirations to make sure? Why'd you put it as make sure they're anonymous? That kind of instilled that drive for you to become the voice actress you are today. Because there are so many different VAs that have inspired a whole generation of people. It's hard to pinpoint who's at this point.
Well, inspiration wise, I would say probably Laura Bailey. I love the fact that she has such a huge range that I would love to strive to be just like her. But I would say the voice actor that I was the biggest fan of for the longest time is actually not even more of an inspiration for my voice itself, but more so to get my journey started was George Newbern. And he voiced Sephiroth in Advent Children Final Fantasy. He voiced Sephiroth in Dissidia NT, Dissidia,
Wasn't he
all of
also
those games.
Superman?
He was also Superman in the Justice League
Yes.
animation. So I actually met him at a convention right before I started voice acting, bought him a Superman pin, and told him he was my hero because I loved his voice that much that whenever I was going through tough times, I would play the games and his voice would just, it was like, it would help. It was a coping mechanism of sorts. So I bought him a Superman pin, told him he was my hero. It was one of the greatest experiences. I've never fangirled that much in my life. I almost passed out. It was ridiculous. And from there, after meeting him, I was like, you know what? This is something I want to try, and I haven't stopped since.
George is always a nice guy.
He's just
Michael Rosenbaum is
sweetheart.
just the funniest person too.
I strive, those are goals. Those are the type of people I want to strive to be like, funny and nice. You want everybody to be comfortable, you know?
I used to feel that way, and then I was on Twitter for like 5 years.
Get off of Twitter.
I am.
Twitter, bad juju. I only do it for work, but let me tell you, don't look at it. Don't do it.
Just don't, kids. Save
Don't.
yourselves.
Don't. You'll be happier not being plugged into it. I promise.
Number 2. Let's see. Oh, it's a nice and breezy one. It's been a fan favorite since I've been asking it ever since Christian. Could you walk us through a day in the life of being Mercedes? Like, it could be before Shmona, it could be during, it could be now and post Shmona. We just want to hear what it's like to be Mercedes Lewis, everyone's favorite glowing avatar of purity that just kind of oozes sunshine, happiness, and probably the best hugs around.
Oh, I definitely wish I can give more hugs, that's for sure. So, well, in the life of Mercedes, I wake up, I get my daughter situated before whatever it is that I have planned for the morning, whether it's Twitch streaming or if I have a script that's come in that I want to work on, I'll get my husband to hang out with her after I get her situated and start working on those, whether it's going live, doing scripts on the weekends, or I do scripts at night and on the weekends. And if I need to do them in the morning, I will find a way to get them done early in the morning. So, and after I do, let's say I'm done with the job or live or whatever, out comes the phone, out comes the PC, networking, building relationships, checking on friends, posting content for all social media platforms because I have like too many. I am trying to find work And I'm also sending out emails to potential clients that have already been having relationships with, following up with people that I haven't worked for in a while to see how they're doing. Yeah. So, and then I'll just chill. After I'm done all of that, I find time to just chill, woosah, play some video games like Final Fantasy 14 online. I'll have a nice cup of coffee to get me through the day, unless I'm recording, which you don't want to drink coffee when you have a recording. But if you don't, have some coffee. And if not, lots of water. But yeah, that's pretty much, I always tell people I'm pretty boring until I'm not, I guess. So I'm mostly like quiet, chill, content. Once I put the makeup and the hair on, though, I feel like a superstar. And then I'm like bouncing around off the walls and having a good time. But yeah, it's there's a lot of responsibilities in my life too. You know, I have to balance being a mom and a wife and taking care of the house and the animals that we have. We got a husky, we got 2 cats. So I mean, it's a busy day, but I try to always find time for myself despite all of that, so that I'm able to like disconnect and be like, okay, let's watch a show or let's play a game that's not like in front of everybody. Let's just do your own thing after, because my husband, he'll be wonderful and he will watch her for me if I am like, listen, I need a break. Can I have a moment to myself? And he'll be like, yeah, that's fine. And he'll give me a break. He'll give me like an hour or 2 to myself to do whatever I want to do. And he'll help me out so that I don't go crazy, because there's a lot happening. But yeah, it's a pretty proactive day normally, busy. My daughter's a handful, bless her heart. She keeps me on my toes. She's an only child, so she's never satisfied and she gets bored very easily. So you can imagine that juggling that on top of everything else can be quite a bit. But yeah, and if I'm not doing any of that, I'll be doing like convention stuff, preparing for conventions that I have for this year. So some really cool stuff that I'm looking forward to, like a vacation from a vacation kind of thing. Yeah. So that's pretty much my day. I'd say I'm mostly like chill, I try to not put too much pressure on myself and get everything I need to get done within the day,
Well, Mercedes, one, there's a contradiction to what you're saying about your whole thing about feeling like a superstar. You are one. So I want you to shut your face about saying that you just feel like it, because you are one. There's only one rad Mercedes Lewis, and I'm looking straight at her.
Thank you. I wish I could look straight at you too, but I'm looking straight at the camera. At you too. You're rad too.
And 2, I've heard so many people say that they live a boring thing, but I need to point this out for like the last time for people. I enjoy when people have a humble life. You have no idea how exhausting it is to have friends that were starting to become super rich moguls at the same age I was, and kept that same wealth to where we're adults today, where they're just like, man, I'm just so bored. I was flying to Morocco for lunch, and I now have to fly out to Honduras, and I'm just so exhausted. I don't have time to call up my kids that are in military school. How is your life going, buddy? It's like, I had to talk to your kids, because they don't even really see you, because you're just saying that they're a problem because, oh, they just start one fire, so I'm just going to disown them. They start a fire because of you, you idiot! How was that my fault?
This is, I'm a daddy's girl, so my dad has taught me, he was just like, you only get one life, you only get one time with your family. Don't screw it up. And that's one of the reasons why I did voice acting and streaming and all of that stuff, because this allows me to have the flexibility to be with my daughter and my husband. Whereas if I worked a normal full-time job, I would be away from her all the time, away from him all the time. I would never see him because he works at night and I would be working the day. And so these opportunities, I'm just grateful because it allows me to be home much more than if I'm not. So I'm grateful.
See, a good parent, unlike most of my childhood friends that just push their kids on me for like the last, what year is it now? 17 years.
17 years old, my Lanta. It's a lot, some parents, if they don't ever get a break and they snap, and I've been blessed with my husband who gives me breaks sometimes when I get overwhelmed because it's a lot. but some parents don't always have that outlet, like especially single parents that have to figure that out.
No,
So
no,
like,
Mercy, they're not single parents. They're happily married. They could easily take care of their
oh
kids.
no, oh no. Well then, no comment. You know where I stand. You know where I stand. I'm all about family. Family is always first to me, you know.
Family's important. I just don't want to have to take care of my god kids all the time because they're just like, I'm too bored to. I'm getting off topic
Oh.
myself. I'm getting mad. I'm gonna move on.
Don't get mad. Get happy. Let's do this.
Question the third. Now, this has been something I've been asking people ever since I used to do stuff with the Law and Order teams for Criminal Intent and for SVU when they were just like, okay, we're going to be doing another shoot because apparently Ice-T wasn't happy with this scene, or whoever the actors were for Criminal Intent. I wasn't paying attention when I was on that set. I was just like, when's lunch? After we do another take of them expecting the body / after they're talking to the crackhead at this alleyway. But when's lunch?
Yeah, I mean, food is food, right?
So whenever it was just those times to set up for the cameras and get the whole entire blah 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 set up, I would just be asking my fellow extras, what is your dream role that if this were to be the one role you get, it would be the defining stuff that you'd be the happiest with? What would it be and why? And I've heard it across the board of so many different things that I'm still waiting for at least a few of them to come true, because thanks to Invincible, we finally got someone that wanted to wish of having an Asian lead character that wasn't offensive, because that's been on the bucket list for a lot of different people I've worked with. I've kind of gotten a little bit with people that had Hispanic-led characters that weren't offensive with the Condor and El Muerto and a few other things, but not as prevalent yet, that I'm still waiting for. So, I'm still waiting across the board for a few things, but what about you, Mercy?
So, dream job, it can be in voice acting, right? Like a dream character?
Yes, like the dream role where it's like, this is the one thing you're going to be known for life, and you're happiest with it.
Honestly, if I could be a pro tag in a Final Fantasy game, that would be the peak of my career. I wouldn't stop, but...
No, it's not like a stop thing. It's just like, you're the most known for this, and you're happiest with it.
But that's what I would love to be known for, is being... And not the annoying kind that everybody's like, I hate that character so much. Like a well-written main protagonist in a Final Fantasy game would be absolutely amazing. And that's what I would love to go for. The general goal is to star really in any Square Enix video game, but Final Fantasy specifically would be the dream. And if it was a main protagonist, oh my Lanta. Like, that makes me want to get up out of bed and get just work until I get to that point. So
then allow me to speak into the universe. Hey Square, Final Fantasy 17 needing a new pro tag. Mercy Lewis right there. Just right there. She has a website and everything. Also,
love you, Square.
Also, if you want to see her play more of your stuff, she has a Twitch channel of twitch.tv/.
I will play the game for everything. Like, I will market for you. I always market a lot of the stuff for people, and I'm not afraid to market. Yeah, so yeah, Square Enix.
This is how you know I'm actually a friend of Mercy. I'm like, I will gas her up and I'll try to speak any good stuff in the universe. Like, hey,
I appreciate
universe, it's your girl Mercy. Put her in some more stuff.
I appreciate that so much. And I mean, I'm just honored to be where I'm at already. But I mean, that is such a big goal that it just gets me pumped and wanting to do more to get to that point. But yeah, that's a tough goal because you have to be with a certain agency. You have to be union because they only do union actors, I've noticed.
They kind of started that after 10. That was the problem.
Yeah, and so I would need to no longer be non-union. I would have to join SAG-AFTRA. But in order to do that, you have to be referred through certain jobs. So I have to work to the point where I get a job where I qualify for that.
Actually, there's a misconception with the SAG stuff because I could have gotten it by just having only 2 roles under my belt from just having one person on the SAG board.
Really?
Yeah, I honestly had the opportunity to be a full-blown licensed member of the SAG board, to be in any union across the board. I just turned it down because, one, I was doing a bunch of stuff no teenager should be doing, and two, when the opportunity was finally around, I kind of just gave up acting because I had the worst agent.
Uh, well, it's definitely it's something to think about because there's a lot of pros and cons associated with joining the union, and that's why there's people that are in FICOR where they can do a little bit of both. Because once you join the union, you can't do non-union stuff, which there's a lot more non-union work than there are union work. So those are things that I have to weigh options on. Is if I join the union, I can no longer do non-union work, and union work is a lot less than that. So those are things that I have to think about. Is like, you know, is it worth that? Because I'm not guaranteed a role like that. I'm not guaranteed to star in a AAA video game because of mostly being union workers that or actors that get it. So those are a lot of things that I have to think about that I am still like working through. It's a process, because you have to figure out what's best for you and what's best for your lifestyle. And a part of me is like, well, that's really good, but I would lose out on a lot of work. I'd be competing with celebrities, and I am not established like them. I am, I'm trying to get my name out there. I have to work 3 times as hard because I don't have representation. I am me. I do it all. And so it's a lot to think about, but it doesn't discourage me from wanting to do it. It's just, I have to decide, is this worth it? Is it worth me switching over if I get to that point? And if so, how is it going to get me closer to that specific goal? Though, because there's a lot of people that compete for the same thing, and those types of roles, the auditions are so hush hush because they don't want information leaking. That it's you have to have the right agent to get access to those auditions. So it's a lot to think about, but honestly, even though that's a process and something that it is on my mind sometimes, I don't let it like deter me from what's in front of me as well, because I can dream all day, but I also want to see what my reality is and, where I can go currently with the reality that I have and where I can go. And I always think of every opportunity as this could be the one opportunity. This could be it. Like I never think, oh, here we go. Here's, it's more like every job that I land, I am always grateful. And I think, well, where could this go? And it's just great because some of the roles that I landed that you would never expect things to come out of, Blackwind came out of. And I'm like, oh, well, if I never did this, I would have never auditioned or had access to the audition for this. So there's a lot of things to think about, a lot of things that you have to do, but yeah, I don't let it discourage me. It's a process. You have to figure out what's best for you, and I'm still figuring it out.
It is a process, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But before I get down that rabbit hole of some stuff, since I've gotten at least 3 out of the 5, so I know Anonymous won't just be hitting me up at 3 a.m. with those emails. If you guys are brand new to the show about what's about to happen, allow me to explain. Unlike every other interview show, either I've been a part of, I've helped write and produce, or I've hosted it in general, this is the only interview show I've done where I will basically flip the tables, where the interviewee becomes the interviewer and I become the interviewee instead of the interviewer, since, in my opinion, everyone has questions and everyone deserves answers. That way, no one is left just being like, man, I really wish I could have asked Graham Norton where he gets those great jackets. Or, oh my god, was Ellen truly that big of an a-hole? A bunch of stuff people really wanted to ask, but never really had the opportunity to because, well, whatever rules of journalism people feel like is just set in stone, when it's not, because I've done journalism before. Anyway, the tables are now flipped to you, Mercy, where you can pretty much ask me anything. I've been asked so much stuff at this point, I don't mind answering anything.
Well, how did you create the Writers Cove? Like, what inspired it?
Oh, oh, that's actually a funny story. So
Ooh.
it was during the time I finally came back to try and transition myself back into voice acting more fully because I haven't done it in so long. I was like, whatever. So I was in this. I'm not ashamed to admit I was in this Minecraft role play for someone that used to be a friend because they were like, we're looking for someone that's a good enough voice actor to turn in their stuff. If anyone knows me, knows I turn in at least 7 episodes in on the first day you give me scripts. If you have 7 episodes done, I knock it out like that.
Yeah. That's great.
Problem though is the script got so bad that I actually developed having an alcoholism problem just to stomach the material I was enduring. And then they were talking about stuff of we should do a whole story just for laughs. We do stuff about homelessness when I was homeless at least 4 times in my life, which was hyper insulting.
Oh.
And then it got even worse to being like, just like a whole laugh. What if we did stuff of gender swap when one of the people that was the art director for the show is gender fluid, and that was a slap to their face, and that made my drinking problem worse.
So it was just like a lot of offensive content that was happening.
Oh, they never released it though. They were just trying to put it on like the chopping room floor.
Oh. Okay. Still. That's a lot to process.
Yeah, it was, along with my liver to process through all that. I'm making fun of myself so hard right now, but it's the only way I can get through that whole situation.
Oh, no. I mean, sometimes you have to. I laugh my way through some tough times, too, so I get it. I get it.
So right, to answer your question, I'm sorry. So
no, you're fine.
After all that was done and I was trying to get my liver back in order, it's still a long process, guys. Alcoholism destroys your liver. Don't drink excessively. Drink responsibly.
Yeah, drink in moderation.
Yes.
For sure.
So, I was then left with 4 people who I now consider some of my closest best friends now, 2 of which you guys probably have seen in our live streams, which if you guys haven't already, we stream at least 4 days a week on twitch.tv/Writers Cove Studios. We kind of do some funny stuff. Not funny like Mercy, funny. But we are kind of funny.
You guys are definitely funny. I think I'm like the dry sense of humor kind of funny, and I'm like dingus. And then y'all are just like pointing out these clever things. I'm just like, because I watch y'all's on y'all's Twitch, and I just have a good time. We did the Titanic one. That was so funny to watch.
Oh yeah, where it's like, oh look on coloring that nipple.
That scene, I was just dying. I was like, how are they gonna handle this scene?
But
I was like, this is great. I should have watched this with y'all before I watched it. So, but if you need a first for Titanic, make sure you watch their version of it. That was great. Sorry for interrupting.
It's fine. But we were just kind of putting some stuff together where we had our flagship shows that we were kind of making, like my original show of Let's Do Art, where it's voice acting meets speed drawing to kind of merge some stuff together. A first, I think for like many people, where it's like story actually with the art entailing blah blah blah. And a few of the shows, they're being remodeled to this day, and we were just talking amongst each other where it's just a small team of like 13 people, and it's like, what if we actually combine our own resources as creatives to make an actual team, an actual studio? And originally we were going to call ourselves Archangel Productions. However, there was a team of 5 dudes that already had it for like 5 years. So we were at that moment in time like, what are we going to do? And then the one founding member of Unicorn Sparkles was just like, what if we're just like a secret within a watery cove where we just tell our own stories within everything? And then the birth of Writers Cove Studios was just born from there, with me making our mascot of Narita the Selkie, which you guys can see on all of our whole socials and even our profile pictures. That has been like our whole staple, we're a very niche market where we start off small, doing some small stuff of narrations or text adventures up in the next few years, and we're slowly trying to build our stuff towards the animations, 3D modeling, and even certain stuff that we're trying to build up in secrecy for you guys, but not trying to be super showy. Just a secret little seal in their own little cove, but hiding a lot of beautiful products.
Oh, that's wonderful. Sounds like a happy ending to me.
Yeah. Plus my liver's back to normal, I think. I don't know.
That's awesome, though. Good for you. Good for you. Take care of yourself, because you matter. And we want you here. So you stay with us, okay?
Yo.
Keep taking care of us yourself. That's amazing, though. I've always been curious about starting up for studios and things like that because it's something that I feel like I would have a good time doing as well. But I only have certain skill sets, so I'm just kind of like, how do they do it? But that's amazing. Is combining everybody's traits and skills together. It just makes perfect sense to me. And you can get so much done in that sense because I'm the kind of person that feels like they have to do everything on their own, but it doesn't work that way. It just does not work. And why do that when you can have a team of people using their best skill sets to create something beautiful? So that's awesome. I'm happy for you. If you can interview one celebrity on this show, I say show, but
I mean, it's kind of a show.
Yeah. Who would you interview? Like, who would you just be like, oh my gosh, I get to interview this person. Who would it be?
For years, I was going to say it would be Keith David because I wanted to talk to Goliath from Gargoyles for so long. But then I'd just be like sitting there like,
drooling. I would be drooling because that voice is beautiful.
I wanted to be Goliath so bad, but every time I pull out my actual speaking voice, it's like, you can't do this, man. He doesn't sound anything like your accent.
But you know what? That's okay. That's the beauty of all of our voices is we're all unique because it's us. You know? Even if we can't sound like somebody we want to sound like. So.
Yeah. But to answer your question, though, the number one person I've always wanted to interview that I feel like is so underrated is T.C. Carson.
Ooh, T.C. Carson.
A lot of people don't remember T.C. Carson because they're just like, who is that? It's like, he was Kyle in Living Single, aka the show before Friends. So I don't want to hear anyone saying it was the black version of Friends. It started Friends. And most prevalently, he was Kratos for all except for the 4th God of War in the main timeline.
Wow, that's incredible.
I have adored this man for so many years that I really did try to replicate my own jazz career around him, where I try to learn his songs as covers when I used to have a jazz band. And even now that I'm trying to remake my own jazz career to this day, I'm always going back to T.C. Carson about what kind of rhythm and flow to kind of do with certain stuff, how to just be that charismatic and energetic. I want to talk to this man because he's reshaped so much of my entertainment life by trying to be more charismatic that it made me kind of form my own charisma around just trying to emulate someone that's so down to earth and so real.
That's incredible. Have you reached out to him?
Twice.
Oh, what happened? Nothing?
I tried reaching out to him before about how much he's impacted me as a singer. He was just like, oh man, that's just so heartwarming to hear. I don't usually hear that from a few people about just the music side. It's just about the acting, but I appreciate it. And the last time I heard from him was just how much inspiration that he and a few people from In Living Color were, where they had a back and forth conversation about reaching out to each other to hang out with again, to where Takia Crystal, I can't pronounce her last name, but Takia Crystal basically was trying to say some stuff about how big the whole industry was for herself back in the 80s and 90s for In Living Color and this whole scene of events for minority actors and blah, blah, blah. To where I think she would have invited me out to see her since she's a teacher down in Florida if I asked her to, but I was just too nervous. I was like, oh God. I'm getting attention from people I've admired. Hiding in the turtle shell.
I am actually a very introverted person, believe it or not. So I understand that because that was a struggle that I had starting out, for sure. But have you reconsidered reaching back out?
I have, but I need to make sure I'm in the right state of mind because I've been exhausted
Right,
for weeks. I don't want to sound
right.
like, hey, you there, handsome man. I love your voice. Be on my show.
I'm not going to give you a choice. So don't say no. You're going to be on the show. Right. No. Definitely want to be in the right state of mind because yeah. Yeah, you want to be happy when you do it. So for sure, I get that because mental health is very important. If you are struggling with mental health, then take time for yourself, kind of thing, and then hit the ground running when you can. So for sure, you should do it. You should do it. Sky's the limit, baby. Do it. Do it. Just reach out. What's the worst that could happen? Sorry, can't. Okay. You know what? The worst is that they'll say no.
Yeah.
That's it. And that doesn't reflect you as a person. It's just that they have their reasons if they say no, and don't even worry about it. But that's the worst that'll happen for you asking, because the worst thing is not asking, and then the answer would have been yes.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, I've gotten to the point where if I need to talk to somebody, even though I'm intimidated by them, I'll still talk to them. My insides will like be squeezing, and I'll be hurting, and anxiety will be racing, but it's worth it. I very few times has it been a really awkward experience. Most of the time, people are just very, oh, okay, yeah, hey, how's it going? I try not to, I'm the kind of person that will, make it worth their time, kind of thing. And I definitely think that this is something that you should go for, shoot for it. So, especially when it's somebody you admire, oh my gosh, do it. Yeah, that's all the questions I have, because I was curious about how you got it started and who you would have on there. And now that I know who you have on there, get it done. That is my goal for you.
Okay.
As your host. I'm just kidding. Come back to me in 2 weeks and let me know how it goes. Better be yes. No, just kidding. But no, you should do it for sure.
I'm definitely gonna try. Because it'll definitely go better than me trying to be like, hey, Phil Lamarck, would you be interested in being a guest? He'd be like, I would love to, but first off, who are you? And second, how did you get this email? I got it from your website. Oh, my apologies.
Well, try to send an email that has all that information, but in a short manner, because most of the time when you send emails and it's like long, most people won't read it.
Oh, so. It's just the small thing of like, hey, Mr. Lamar, I was wondering if you'd like to be a guest on our podcast interview show.
Here's a link to our show. This is how I got your email. Let me know what you think. I'd love to get with you. All the best, or whatever you want to say. And then your email signature. And you're done.
But I think he just forgot that he had his email on the website at that time, so it was just a mess.
Wait, he actually... Oh, that was actually something that happened.
Yeah, it was.
How did you get my email?
Yeah, it was a few years ago before Writers Cove was a thing. I was trying to interview him, and he was just like, "How did you get my email?" I was like, "Oh, he must have forgotten that he had his email on his website."
On his website, yeah.
This is awkward.
You know what? On his website, if he has a contact form, fill it out. Do it.
Yes. But while we're plotting about getting these guests for the show,
I am helping you plot.
I sense a real friendship here.
I'm always helping people out. I always believe in make it happen, and it'll be good.
Yeah.
It'll be good. Yeah.
But so I can get these last two questions before Anonymous is going. I can already sense her just at this point in the editing process, like, where are these last two questions, you son of a... I'm getting to a girl. Calm down. Calm down.
shoot. What's going on? What's the next question?
The next question is definitely something new, because I've
Okay.
never seen her ask this one.
Oh no. I'll be the sample dummy. I'm used to it.
What is one entertainment genre that you would say is a no-go when it comes to you for auditioning?
It's not that I won't go for it because I've like oh, does anonymous mean in terms of what my like this is not what I'll audition for, like there's no way, or is anonymous talking about like the type, like if it's a video game, audiobook, if I could pick
So,
what.
from the time I've known her, she's probably talking about like genre for like films or TV or games, like hard drama, romance, western, erotica,
So
stuff like that.
oh, okay, perfect. So matter of fact, that's one of the things that I don't do is I am more I have to be very careful with not safe for work material. I will audition for roles that have cursing, but I will not audition for roles that have the act itself in it. So, but if the character is in the act, let's say it's a visual novel or something, but and the audition says it's not safe for work, your character participates in this, but you don't say anything during it. You don't have to record that. Then I'm open to that. But if it's like where like, I have to do the act itself and things like that, that is my personally, that is what I don't do, because how I represent my brand, I I I can't be doing that because my brand doesn't represent not safe for work. It's mostly safe for work. And sometimes I have to be careful with horror stuff because I've been cast for some horror stuff, especially narration, and so I have to be very careful with what I say. And there have been times where like the script will go too far, and I'll be like, hey, the wording of this is a little bit too much. Can I switch it to this? And they'll be cool with it. Because you can, depending on who it is, you can ask them if you have that relationship with them where you can be like, listen, that was worded in a way that I can't really like feel comfortable saying. Can I say it like this? And they'll be like, yeah. So, but not safe for work. It's nothing against it. It's just that it's not what my brand is. And so like I don't audition for roles that have sex in it or the act of it. So I don't do that. And that includes erotica, because erotica is more of it. Romance novels I'll narrate, but erotica is like you participate in that as well. And so I don't do that. Now they say you could do a pseudonym and things like that. I don't have time to do pseudonyms, so that's why I don't even bother. I'm just kind of like, nah, there's no secret side to me that does like all of this stuff. I personally just, it's not for me. It's not for my brand. It's not what I do, and it's nothing against people that do it. It's just that I say that I'm very shy. I don't do those things. I don't if I don't want my parents hearing it, then I'm not gonna do it. So I save my parents because I could save my kid, but my kid's not old enough. But my parents, they're very supportive of everything that I do. So if I don't want them hearing particular things, I'm not gonna audition for it. Now, like I said, if the role itself is you don't have to do the act, but the character does, I'm not against that. Like I'll audition for it because I'm not having to say anything during it. And this includes even roles like I named this voice. This is going to be, I'm so sorry about this, but I named one of the voices that I have called brothel voice. This is a joke that my friends and I have where they're like, oh my God, are you going to bring out the brothel voice? And I'll be like, no, not today. But the reason why we called it brothel voice is because in a video game, I auditioned for a NPC brothel character. So things like that I'm not opposed to. It's just that the act itself I'm not going to be representing, I guess. So, and more power to people that do. I'm not against it. I just don't do it because I'm shy.
I don't know why when you said brothel voice, I was like, were you in an upcoming Witcher game I don't know about? Like, what's going on, Mercy?
No, it was an audition I did where I discovered that voice for the first time. and it was just an audition where the girl was just trying to be like 2 for 1, but it doesn't sound like that. But it was like, I'm not gonna do it on here because it's not appropriate. But when I auditioned for it, I was like, whew, I didn't know I could do that. And so we just named it the brothel voice. And every once in a while, very rarely, I'll bring out that voice, and it'll be very entertaining when I do. But I only do it for like when I'm live on streams and stuff for 18 plus. Like I'll do it for Phasmophobia stuff. Sometimes I'll bring it out and make people laugh and like blush, but I won't do anything too like crazy. I'm still a very PG-13 PG person. I don't do much that's rated R or M for mature, things like that. But I'm not opposed to cursing, things like that. It's just that the sex stuff I get a little shy with. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good.
She's a dainty little rose.
Yeah, it's like I try not to do that. I'm too shy. Sorry. So, because some people are like, why? Like, do it. And I'm like, I'm good.
It's fine. It's fine. She fine.
You go for it. Listen, you go for it. But I don't know. So, but I do have. I did get recently cast for a very sexual role, but it's implied. It's not her actually doing it. Does that make sense? So
it does. It just kind of gives me flashbacks to the Melissa Medina episode when one of my other friends was talking about how everyone just kind of sees her as the dommy mommy when she's just a low-key nerd. And I'm like,
she is amazing.
I already know you're a low-key nerd, Melissa. I've known you for a while now. I don't see why people see you as a dommy mommy. It's like, because of my voice, I just sound so aggressive. It's like, no, you just sound tired.
Aww.
Anyway.
I love her. She's wonderful.
Oh, I
she's
adore
so
Melissa.
Talented. Yeah, she's just a beautiful being. So I love everything about her. She's just so wonderful to watch, all of her success and everything. She's an inspiration. She's somebody that is definitely somebody I look up to as one of the voice actors in the industry. So for sure, she's wonderful.
It's always funny when I hear that about friends. I'm just like, I just see them as someone I want to give a hug to. They're like, they're an inspiration. How dare you not give them praise? It's like, I'm just their friend, dude. I don't.
It's like we're cool. I don't. That's how it is with my friends too. They're just like, yeah, we support you, but like people are like wanting to like be your presence. I mean, you're cool and all, but you're a friend. You're on a different level, so we're not gonna treat you like that. And I'm like, good. I don't want you to. That's why you guys are my friends. So because they're real with me, like they don't cookie. They're not cookie cutters. They're straightforward with everything, and sometimes I need that in my life where I get like kind of like what's it? Sometimes I'm floating too much and I need people to keep me grounded.
Your anchors.
Yes, my anchors. That's right. So, and they keep me grounded when I need it, for sure. So I'm grateful. But yeah, no, she's definitely an inspiration because she is doing everything that I would love to do. And I think that as long as I continue the course and I continue doing what I'm doing, eventually, maybe one day I can get to that level too.
Oh, you will.
So,
you will. We've reached the requirement where I don't have to get those angry emails. We did it, everyone!
We did
Round of applause for everybody! I would do it, but right now I'm in a comfy blanket burrito, as y'all have been seeing this whole interview.
I might drink this comfy coffee. It's so good. Got your comfy burrito, I got my comfy coffee.
But, I would love to keep talking to Mercedes, but she is a very busy lady with life and stuff. So I'm gonna try and cut this as best I can to where I want to thank Mercy for being a guest on this show, and I hope to see her again because I'm gonna see about if y'all were on the episode 50 live stream that we did for Riffwave on twitch.tv/Writers Cove Studios. We were trying to talk about maybe getting Mercy as a guest on one of the episodes. And I'm hoping to get her on maybe the episode we're going to do The Mummy starring Brendan Fraser, if she's interested.
Ooh. I am very interested. I just need to prepare ahead of time. So.
Like, if you need to watch the movie beforehand to come up with jokes, we understand. It's going to be a few weeks from now.
I don't think I mean, I've seen them. But I'm just so awkward.
Everyone in the show is awkward. You've seen us live stream.
I mean, I don't know have you heard me off cam? Like, I am so awkward. Like, imagine, like, when I'm off cam, it's something else. It's just like, I'm so awkward. But at the same time, I feel like I'm more at peace because I don't have to do, like, the facial expressions, you know? And I could just be, like, deadpan. But I can get pretty awkward, so, like, I don't know.
I mean,
If
we're
feel
here for the
safe, bring me
awkward. We're
on.
here for it, okay? Um,
Oh, my Lanta.
and
Oh,
and aside from that, you guys are gonna probably be hearing in a few weeks. We're gonna be launching our first ever crowdfunding campaign towards our first official Spotify exclusive, where we're gonna have Mercy be a very important character for it if we reach a certain goal. So if you guys want to hear from when we have Mercy, Alex Rorschach, Sebastian Todd, maybe PMC more, and potentially LC Lovelock. I don't know. Still debating on that one, and as well as Takahata 101 for all this sort of stuff. If you guys want to hear those top bill people as like the important characters for this whole Spotify exclusive stuff, make sure when the crowdfunding stuff drops that you crush that goal or even double it so we can get even more people involved. Aside from that, you guys can find Mercy on all the different social media stuff, as well as her website in the description below on our YouTube side. For the Spotify side, when we finally get all that stuff sorted out, you guys gotta go to the YouTube. Obviously, click on the thumbnail with Mercy's pretty face in a nice picture frame, like every other wonderful guest we've had on this show, and then just go towards the description, click on all that stuff, and just support this lady. She's great. She's got a wonderful husband, an adorable daughter. She has a nice vibe where every day I go and talk to Mercy in her live stream and I want to give her a hug, but I don't want to because I feel like she's not a hugger, but I still want to hug her.
I am a hugger. Don't just because I'm an introvert doesn't mean I like hugs. Like, I love hugs. I'm a hugger. So if we ever meet, I'm gonna give you a hug.
If we meet, I'm just gonna be hugging you, just like, did we just become best friends? I'll just say that into your ear, just like, did we just become best friends?
Then I'll know. I'll be like, yes. This is great. Yeah, no, I'm a hugger. I am all about embrace, and because it releases endorphins that are so good for the soul. So yeah, I'm a hugger.
It does.
It's so good.
If you guys want to keep up to date with all the stuff that we do, you're already on the YouTube and Spotify, so make sure you follow us on Twitch, on our Twitter, on our Instagram. Go to our Alignable if you want to do some business with us there, or hit us up on our soon to be new community Discord. That's going to be one of our 3 newer Discords because we have our main one. We're going to have our Writers Cove Studios family one, where it's just going to be your connections that we've kind of formed and fell in love with, like with Mercy, with Jordan Rudolph, with Amanda Hufford, Miss Moonified, June Yoon, even Suling Chan, who's one of my good buddies. I still owe her a couple of hugs, as well as I owe her, I owe Melissa, and I owe Kelsey Mayer brunch and mimosas. I was gonna make the brunch and the mimosas. Go have a day of it.
Yes. That's awesome.
If I wanted to say anything else for you guys, just keep an eye out, because as you guys know, we're always working on certain stuff, whether it's the upcoming movie in 2024/2025, the animated version, the video game that we're probably going to announce for you guys is going to come out in 2028. That's also going to be crowdfunded. The brand new show that's going to be fully 3D modeled, that we're going to take 9 years to kind of get finalized, dropping
awesome.
2030. So many things on the pipeline, so many things we've already announced, so many things we're still developing. Just keep an eye out for that on all of our socials, on our website, and also, like I've stated, I don't know how many times I'm going to say it again, because I want y'all to do it. I want y'all to support Mercedes Lewis. If you don't, I'm going to make sure you guys don't get any chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, I appreciate it. I appreciate all the support. So I'll just be spreading love, and that's what I like to do. So I'm a mama. I spread mama love.
And
so you'll get that love.
And I'm a pappy, because all my kids are just like, Pappy, you gotta stop being a hype man for certain people. It's like, I only do it for the good people.
Aw.
How do you know who the good people are? That's a great question. But we're not going to go into that story because we got to go, guys. I've been the founder, and I was happy enough to get the wonderful guest of
Mercedes Lewis.
And we will see you guys in our collective ventures another time. Have a good day, afternoon, evening, whatever sort of time zone that you guys have on Jupiter and Saturn, because I have a feeling that certain aliens are watching this broadcast 47 years from now. And we will see you guys later.
Bye, everybody.